Hello, good people. This is Minyari coming to you from the beautiful world of Chimeraland. It's a strange name for a beautiful game. I am currently at my home and overlooking the land that is just begging to be explored. Today's video is very important because I am going to go over all of the user interface, basically everything that you currently see on your screen. I'm going to just briefly touch upon and explain so those who are new to the game can get a handle on what you're looking at as quickly as possible. Normally I would say we're going to start in the top left hand corner and work our way around, but I do want to hit one of the most important buttons is on the bottom left, and it's a little house with little spokes. We call that your menu wheel, and you open that up and it has several other menus that you will find very necessary throughout your adventuring. Your mailbox is up there in the top section there, and just some general information about your level and your house level, whether you're in PvP or Peace, because this game does offer PvP unlike Villagers and Heroes. So basically when you hit this button, just tap around and kind of explore everything that you've got going on. Some of it is self-explanatory. Some of it I will cover at some point, either now or later. But for now, I just want you to know that that button is there, and it is an important one that you will become much more familiar with. So let's go ahead and we'll start in the top left-hand corner. You see that gray box, and it has Mount, we're at Mount Venerette. It tells us the temperature because there are, as you see, there's mountains. There's also a desert. There's a desert over there. It gets hot in the desert and it gets cold at the top of the mountains. And different climates affect your tune differently. And the third one on the bottom there, it says 103 paces. I am 103 paces above sea level because, ladies and gentlemen, you can explore under the sea. It is beautiful. There are coral reefs, there are fish, there are things to discover out there. And you can also explore the skies. And right now, it looks like a storm is rolling in, but you can very clearly see the planets above us. You can fly up there and explore every single one of those across the great map. So basically, when you hit that gray button, that does open up your map. There's a lot of information there. And when you first start the game, your map's going to look very different than mine. Yours will be covered with the fog of war. And as you explore the map, it becomes uncovered. I'm not really going to go into a lot of detail about this right now. I will cover this in a later module. But there is two things that I find very important for you to know. The first thing, when you first land on a continent, as I said, your map will be mostly dark and it will be covered with a bunch of question marks. The question marks eventually will turn into things, like this other stuff that you see, which I will discuss later. But this guy right here, the little Easter Island looking fellow, this is your central pillar. There are actually several central pillars, and what's so important about this is that if you look in the top right hand corner, it says Mount Vernecia, and underneath it says teleport. That is because I have activated that pillar, and once you activate a pillar, then it becomes a teleport location. And as you can see, there are different pillars scattered throughout the map. I will tell you that on Eastmount there are 23 pillars to be found. The other super important button that you need to know as a newbie on this map is in the bottom right hand corner. It says position. Now let's just say you land like down here See where the little white dot is? Let's just pretend it like you land right there. I'm telling you right now, the first thing you want to do is go up to this guy right here. So what you do is you press on the position button, and you see now it says cancel. Now I have set up a marker, and where this comes into play, if I exit out of this map in the top right hand corner, hit that X, now there is a marker on my user interface, and it tells me that that statue is 3.6 miles in that direction. So I'm just going to aim my tune in that direction and go, and eventually I will get there. So that is the first thing that you need to know. And the rest of the stuff on the map, I promise I will go over later in much greater detail. The next button that you need to know is this little gray button. It looks like a stomach. You have to eat in this game. If you don't eat, you will die. You press the gray button, and it brings up the character information sheet. This gives you all kinds of information about your character and your surroundings, your attributes. It has buttons to go to your stars, which is where you spend points to improve your weapon abilities and whatnot. Your sigils, which increases your attributes. You can level those up and get better and better. Your life skills, gathering, logging, mining, all that wonderful mindless stuff that you can use to distract yourself from real world worries is right there in that button. And as you level things up, then you can spend your points in a number of different categories. And then your bloodline. This is important. A little bit kind of mid-game-ish, but your pets, which my pets are over here on the right, you put them in your bloodline and they add to your attributes. So the stronger your pets are, the stronger you are. The more you invest in your pets, you're investing in your own skills and attributes. You've got a flare button here. That is important later on. So just explore this map, this screen, lots of information here. I'm going to go ahead and grab a quick bite to eat while I am doing this. Alright, so I made that go away. The next button you see over here on the left is a little graph, and right now it's empty because I'm not in a group, but when you're doing group fights and whatnot, that's your where your DPS charts are. Tells you who did the most damage and who took the most damage. Gives a summary of people's performance. I'm sure in bigger guilds or more competitive guilds that information comes in handy. But for a smaller group like one that I'm a part of, it doesn't matter. Everybody, we're just kind of doing this to have fun. The next one over here that I'm kind of scrolling back and forth, took me a couple of days to actually kind of find it and figure it out. It's your compass, and it tells you, your ordinal directions, north, east, south, west, but it also tells you, like for instance, if I point that way, there is a scenic route that's 117 paces away. Let me go into the map real quick and unclick. I'm going to cancel the marker, and now it's not on my screen anymore. But this compass is very important, and you will find it very helpful later on in the game, or even now. It's important. Alright, so now we're going to slide over to the right, and we're going to skip over all those that line of icons and go directly for the square with the dot in the middle. This is a menu that you will become very familiar with, and there are lots of little sub-menus here. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, and I will go into some of them in greater detail in different modules. But for the sake of brevity, I am just going to encourage you to click and explore. I will tell you, as a new person, that the Adventure Pass is something that you do want to get involved with. And if you're free to play, the first tier on top, fine, that is open for everybody. And as you go through, it starts at the beginning of every month. A new Adventure Pass happens, and you get all these different quests that you can complete. And some of them are very mundane, like equip a toy, and then it completes the quest and you get points. And then up here on the right hand side there's a shop, and you can buy things with the currency that you earn. I just spent a bunch on my pet growth pack for my animals. But so that is the Adventure Pass. It's the purple one up top. The rest of the stuff, I'm just going to say click and explore, and we will discuss more of these at a later junction. You've got your settings down there too, so that's if you're looking for where to turn your music off or your sound off, etc. That's where you are going to go. Now we're going to slide over to the left. Here we've got the strategy button that takes you out of the game into a web interface with a bunch of tutorials and whatnot. You've got a guide, etc., etc. So lots of information to help you progress through. Perks is basically every day these kind of reset. The ones that you really want to be concerned with are events. You want to go and check on this every single day. So you click on your events, and then where it says go now, you click that button. This takes you out to a web interface, and then you click where it says earn points, and then there's different objectives that you need to meet, and you will earn that number of points. Now you see that I have 150. So as the weeks progress, you gain more and more currency, and then you can spend it in the shop here. And I recently bought a luster powder. But your amount to spend does not reset every week. You can accrue more and more of that, but your quests, these do reset every week. So you've got 1 week to get all that stuff done, and maximize your loot. But there's different things that you need to do. Follow Facebook, join Discord. You lucky draw every day, you get some kind of little item. There are CD keys, which if you do a Google search, Chimeraland CD key, there are websites that keep track of that, and you just click on the button, takes you here, you type in your code, click on confirm, and get rewards. They do expire, so not all CD keys may work as you know after they expire. And then the rest of it, every day, it's gonna ask you to look through there. It's just, their form of advertising. So just pop through and take a look. The next button over is your shop. There are there are 10 different currencies in this game. As you can see, if you click on wallet, you've got your basic currencies. Amber, you can only buy with cash. Rubies, you convert amber to rubies. And there are a couple of ways to do this, and I just figured this out a minute ago. Get more. Oh, there you go. If you hit exchange, you can actually, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, and you can change your ambers into ruby. The way that I was doing it is I was buying, if I click on get more again, I was buying the endless luck pack, which gave me a 50% chance to get rubies and a 50% chance to get something else. So that's what I did. You've got your coins, which are different currencies that you can get from doing different activities, battle totems, hunting totems, fighting in the villages, just various ways to earn earn them, and they all buy different things. There's a lot of currencies in this game. So then the next one over is events. This is basically, it has many different things that you can do throughout the day to earn points that you see on the bottom. You kind of want to get to 150 points per day, and then over here on the bottom it says activity 205 of 900. 900 is what you want to earn in a week. And so as you complete each one of these different tasks, activities, you get points and progress through the ranks. And they have a wide variety of things that you can, if you don't want to do something, go find something else to do. Go fishing, go look for scenic routes, So lots of different ways to earn currency in this game. The next one is the auction house. It's pretty self-explanatory. Put stuff up for sale, buy stuff, rinse and repeat. I think the rubies are the most, popular currency. They're not exactly easy to get, but they're not hard to get either. If you work hard enough, you can get rubies without spending $1. You have to kill, noble beasts and whatnot, and then sell parts off, eggs and, stuff. But you can go gathering and sell your herbs and stuff for rubies. So if you work, you can earn rubies. You can buy weapons. It is free to play friendly. You don't have to pay to win in this game. So that's that. And then we have encounters. And this just has different encounters, like the Droon one. If you have to do the young Droon, I think 3 times. And then you do the Grand Droon 10 times. And then eventually you get this, you have to do this one 15 times to get the pill to get a noble beast that you can ride around. A Droon, which is another word for a whale. So it reminds me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe with the whale falling to the earth. But just different activities, again, that you can do. So there's a lot. Nothing really hems you in this game. Some other games that I've played, you are really kind of locked into, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. It's very formulaic, and this is just very wide open. You can amuse yourself in any multitude of ways. Alright, so now we're going to skip down to where you see the little whistle. The whistle, if you just press it one time really fast, you will summon both of your, you can have, I think Sleeta fell down. You have pets that mounts, and you have attendants, which I will discuss in a later module. But both of these items, creatures, operate somewhat independently of you. You do not have to, they do have their own intelligence. They will follow you within a certain distance. They will fight if you are attacked. They will defend you. They don't go picking fights on their own. But I do find that Lilybell holds a grudge. So if I go fight something and then don't kill it and then come back later, she remembers and she still wants to fight it. So you got to be careful with that. Now here's the important thing, and it took me a little bit to figure this out. So one press, I summoned both of my creatures, which one of them ended up on the ground below us. Now if I press it again, they're both going to go away. Alright? So now I'm going to wait for the system text to go away, but I see that we're in the middle of a meteor shower, and this game is so cool because it has like meteorological events, like the meteor shower, for instance. You can only collect certain ores during a meteor shower. Now it's over, you can't get that ore until the next meteor shower. Mushrooms, you can only get those at night or during a rainstorm. So there's different things that happen that affect your tune and infect the environment around you. It's pretty dynamic and interesting. So anyway, now the whistle. Back to the whistle. So if I tap it once very quickly, I will summon both of my attendant and my pet. Now I can also go to my attendants and I can click return, and I will not summon Sleeta if I just tap it once. Now I'm just going to summon Lilybell, my mount, which is a Pin-a-Pup, which is a hover mount, which is wonderful. I love her. Flying mounts change the game. You can buy mounts, which I bought Pin-a-Pup. You can make a Pin-a-Pup with enough effort, killing things. If you're in a good clan that helps you collect the materials, you can make your own Pin-a-Pup without spending a dime. It's just going to take some work. There are also condors that you can tame and fly. They fly very fast. They have Pin-a-Pup is a hover flyer. The condors, they have a different flying mechanism that's a little bit more awkward to me than the hover mount, but I'm going to go over that later. Flying module. So anyway, I'm going to send Pin-a-Pup away, Lilybell. Now, if I press and hold on, actually I'm going to go and pull her out. Now I'm going to send her back. Now, pretend like you didn't just see that. Alright, so now if I press and hold that whistle button, right? Oh, I swear. Alright, press and hold the whistle. Now it's going to bring up a picture of Lilybell and my mergoat attendant. If I slide to the left and rest on Lilybell, I can summon just Lilybell. If I want my attendant, I slide over to the mergoat and I can just summon the mergoat, who I have not named at this point. And she is down below. And then I can send her back the same way. So I'll come over here and pull her up. Alright, so that took me a couple of days to figure out, and that's a very helpful trick. And again, if I don't want to have, I find sometimes it's helpful if I just want to summon my mount to fight with me. If I don't want to kill something, then I just don't pull my attendant out at all. And I click on attendant, then I click return, and now when I click and hold, only Lilybell is visible, or Pin-a-Pup. But I'm not going to do that right now. The next button over, it looks like a cookie, like an Oreo cookie, and that's because it's the food menu. This is wonderful because if you're in an encounter, you do not want to have to go digging through your inventory to find the foods that you want. You can have your foods here as well as your healing potions and elixirs, and a really neat feature is that you can pin them to the top of the box here. So to pin it, you just press and hold, and then at the bottom it says pin, and then that will tack it up to the top of the square there. So I have this stuff that I use most often, like my temperature buffs. This is for heat resistance. The next one over is for humidity when it rains. The next one over is cold resistance. And the next one is a really crappy heal. And it also gives XP. So that is that, and it doesn't end with just those. It's all the different foods that I have in my inventory and healing potions as well. Now, if I hit switch, I go from myself to pet. This is all the stuff that I can feed my pets. So again, if you're in the middle of a battle and your pets are dying you are going to want to have fast access to your healing potions, which I have up here at the top. And again, you can pin them, and also you can do batch use, which, for instance, let me pull Lily Bell out real quick. Now, if I click on the flower button in the top right hand corner, I call it the flower, the square, and then I click on pet, and then I click on Lily Bell, who it says in use, and then I see over here on the left, fullness, she's at 0, she's hungry. So I'm going to feed her real quick. I'm going to click on the cookie, and then I am going to go down here to the fruit and vegetable stews, large fruit stew, and it says batch use. I'm going to click on batch use, and now I can feed her like 10. I'm just going to start off with 10. Alright, and then I can go back to pet, and now she's completely full. I probably could have fed her 5 and maybe filled her up, I don't know. But yeah, so that's that. So the food button is really important. There's one more thing that is super important that newbies really need to know not to do. Up here you see where it says 45% auto, it's auto recover. You can click that or not, and I'm going to highly recommend that you do not click that until much later in the game, where you're in a big boss raid encounter where pets are taking a lot of damage. You're fighting, and you don't want to have to focus on your pets. But if you have that on, I did this the other day, and I spent like a couple of hours gathering herbs to make these blood cleansing dews. I had 35. It took me like 2 hours to make that many, and she went through them in seconds, like 30 seconds. They were all gone. And it was because I had this stupid button pressed. And I think that she was just at a point in their hit points where, like, she would take a hit and go below 40%, and it would give her a dew, and then she would take another hit, and it would take her back down under 40%, and it just catch 22 every time, and she went through 35 in no time. It was very disappointing. So do not, make sure that is not checked. You do not want that. And if you notice, there's like little teeny weeny arrows. You can go up and down. I think the default is 40%, and I accidentally moved it to 45, and it is so tiny that I can't really get it back to 40, and I don't even care at this point because I'm not going to use it. Alright, so the next button down, I'm going to send Lily Bell away. The next button down is the hot bars. So you see it says expand and hide. If I expand, there's 5 weapons sitting there ready for use. So in an encounter, you can be ranged, you can be melee, you can be a magic user. There's just like, it's so, the options are absolutely limitless as to what you can do, and you can do it all within one encounter. Like, you can switch, like I usually use my crossbow to start a fight, and then once the creatures are angry, then I switch to my fan and break out a can of whoop-ass. So that, now we're going to skip over to the bottom left. Remember where the home wheel menu is? Right next to it, you see the little bag, that's your inventory. And at the bottom of your inventory is your hotbar, what we just saw. And if I click on equip, this is all the gear that I can wear. Either on the left is gear that I wear, and on the bottom are my weapons on my hotbar. So to change your weapons, like for instance the guitar, it's called a pipa, is highlighted presently. If I press and hold that, it brings up the information, and at the bottom of that it says hotkeys. I'm going to press that button, and then I'm going to press where the lantern is. And now the Pippa is where the lantern used to be, in the 4th slot. Now if I click on the lantern again, click on hotkeys, and I put it where the Pippa is. So it's that easy to change your weapons around. The next button is your sprint button, the one underneath it. And the way that works is you press the sprint. And if you notice, as soon as I press that sprint button, this little blue donut appears next to my health bar, which I'm half dead. The blue donut wheel is your stamina bar. So the more stamina you have, the longer that wheel takes to extinguish, to go gray. Where this is the most important is when you're flying. I'm not really going to go into it right now because, like I said, I'm going to do a completely separate module on flying. Another place where the stamina comes in handy when you're fighting also, but that's a different subject. But also when you're just doing something like climbing mountains. Like, this is a very sheer rock face, and very tall. And to get up the mountain, you just sprint. And you see the stamina button, the stamina wheel is going down. Now if I stop, the stamina wheel stops. It's not regaining and it's not losing, right? So I'm kind of locked in. And any direction that I move, I can move up, I can move down, and as I move, my stamina is declining, all right? But to get out of it and regain stamina, if I hit the button underneath it, that's the jump button. Now my stamina is going to regain and I'm out of the sprint mode. Alright? So that is a very important thing that a newbie needs to understand. So let's see if I can get back into my house fairly easily here. Oh, yes, got it. So that covers the sprint button, that covers the jump button, and then the next button down underneath that is the crawl button. It seems kind of a weird button to have, but it actually comes in handy if you're trying to get under a fossil, or if you're fixing a rocket launcher, the Zenith rockets. There are certain places where crawling does come into play. The next button here is the picture of the fan. That's my weapon. Now, if I hit the fan now, it's going to draw my weapon, and now I'm ready to use it. You really only have 3 buttons to press per weapon. So, like, for instance, I can create a storm, I can have this special fast zoomy feature that makes me invisible and hard to hit, and it also makes me fly and hit many targets at once. It's amazing. I love it. But anyway, those 3 buttons together, when your weapon is active, those are your fighting buttons. To put my weapon away, I'm just going to hit the fan on the hotbar. So to pull it out, I'm going to hit the fan, and then to put it away, hit the fan again. And you'll notice that in the bottom right-hand corner, the buttons change. So when the fan is active, I've got my 3 fighting buttons, and when I don't, I have that weird little round button is the exploration button, which I'll go over right now. Alright, so now to do the exploration, we're going to go back to the menu wheel on the left, the house with the spokes, and then up in the top right it says explore, and then you can click orientation, and there are many different things in this game: minerals, produce, etc. And obviously it is a big world and it's hard to find things, so the orientation is very important if you're searching for items. Right now I have it set on Voldo because I know that there are, you see here it's set on Voldo. I know that there are Voldos very close to me. So if I press this button down here in the bottom right hand corner, now you see on my UI little stakes. And there's a Voldo that's 26 paces away over there. There's one that's 11 paces away up there, and you can see his name in red. Alright, so if you're searching for specific items, that in the house, in the wheel menu, explore is very useful to understand. Alright, so I'm going to go to explore. Let's see, now we're back to all. Alright, what else do I need over here? Nothing. Alright, so the next button that I want to look at is, hold on one second. I'm going to change, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Orientation, and I will put it on something that I know is nowhere near me. Do that one. Alright. Clears up my UI. There we go. Ignore the exclamation point. Ignore the yellow house. That's just telling me that there is an attendant in my house that wants to be hired, and that my house is 25 paces below me. My spirit orb is 25 paces below me. Now, next to that, you see a white icon and a green icon. That is your buff bar. So your buffs and debuffs show up here. You just click that, and you can read what they do. Then below that, you've got your chat bar. I'm going to tell you right now that the chat in this game is a bit awkward. It's not really super intuitive. Their slow mode is enabled for the main chat sections. There's slow mode enabled for clan chat, but it's only like 5 seconds. But it has, you can only type, I don't know the character limit, but not a lot. You can only type short things, and it's very heavily censored. You can't say words like kill or hate. Any kind of like weird negative words like that, they will censor, which is kind of funny because like if I see 4 stars, I'm not thinking about kill or hate, I'm thinking about another word that begins with F. So that makes things kind of spicy and interesting, really. But anyway, your chat also, the main Chimeraland chat opens up at level 35. So that's that, and you can close that window. You've got your inventory, which we already kind of like touched on. The wallet's up at the top. The equipment that you wear is on the left. Your gear is on the bottom. Your weapons. Notice you've got your load that's listed there, which you can carry quite a bit. You can increase that through various quests and completing challenges and whatnot. Backpack slots, I don't know if it gets higher than 400 or not. It's been 400 since I started, so but I have yet to fill it up. So either I'm not trying hard enough, or we have really a good bit of storage to work with in the game. And they do break up everything into categories, so if you're looking for anything specific, it does break it down a little bit for you. So that's the inventory. And then, of course, we've got the wheel, which we've already talked about that in depth. I will point out the camera, the view. Now, that one is on the far left. It looks like a camera. It says view. What it does is it takes away the user interface, and you can pan completely around your toon. You can use the arrows to move the camera. And you can also zoom in and zoom out a little bit, so you can get like your tune out of the picture. Now, one cool thing about it too is that in the top right hand corner, notice that it says My Home. So certain items in the game you can actually get more information, like a grand noble beast. If you notice there's that little white dot, that's kind of your cursor. If you put that little white dot on a noble beast, which, let's see if it does that one. That one might be too far away. Yeah, he's too far. Oh, he just disappeared. But anyway, you use this. There are certain quests that asks you to go take pictures of things in the world, and that's what you do. Now, I will tell you that you do not have to save your pictures. So basically, I would, this is my home. If I want to take a picture, I click on the camera icon here on the right, and I have the option to share it on Facebook, which I will not do at this moment, or I can save it to my phone. Notice on the bottom left here in the picture, it tells me my server, my name, and the date, the Chimeraland date. And then if I want to get out of this, I just hit the, or notice at the bottom it says the first daily share you get 30 sage. So if I were to share it to Facebook, I would get a prize, which I will deal with later. But I can exit out of this and not save it. And if I have a quest, which I do, here on the left-hand side, on the left-hand side, you see the yellow exclamation point. If I tap on that, now I'm going to open up my quest window, and if I tap on one of these quests, it opens up another tab with more information. And currently I have a quest to take a picture of Job's tears. So what I would do is I would go to the beach, because I know that's where Job's tears are, and I would find a Job's tears. I would center my little white dot, which is in the center of my screen, on the Job's tears. I would take a picture but not save it, and my mission will be complete, and I can move on to the next one. The next button up is the build menu, and basically this is something that grows as you grow. You're going to be doing a lot of research on the spirit orb, and you earn points. As you build, the more stuff that you do, you get points for. This is something that I will go into greater detail later, but that's where the build button is. Down here in the bottom left hand corner, you see the frame rates. So right now I'm at 26 frames per second. Usually I'm at 30, 31, 32. The 84, I'm not really sure what that is. I think that might be like my connection, my Wi-Fi connection. Not sure. And then there's a little battery that tells me what my battery usage is, which is nice. And then above, you see the fan again. Now, where this comes really super in handy is if I'm using my Expo and I'm running, I can run with my left thumb. I can go forward, and I can shoot with my on the right hand side, the arrow button is there, which I have my sound off, so you can't really hear that I'm shooting right now, but you can see my weapon moving. But also, if you are fighting an airborne creature like a Condor or a dragonfly or a snowy or anything that's flying, you have to do a lot of moving around, and having a trigger over here on the left hand side, so I can move my camera angle with my right finger, and I can shoot with my left thumb. So that's nice for aiming and whatnot. And there is an aim button also to help you be more accurate. Now I'm going to put my weapon away by tapping the purple button up there. And now I am not armed any longer. I am a safe goat. Alright, and then from there, then I'm going to take us back up to the quest buttons. We've already talked about the different quest givers, your side quests, and then there's the team button. You can create teams. I will tell you that when you press on the create team button, the first thing it's going to ask you is if you want to join team chat. That's voice. Do you want to join voice chat is what they're asking. The voice chat I have found is really great. It's very clear. I have very little issues with the voice chat. But if you don't want to be on voice chat, just hit cancel. And you don't have to listen to other people singing to you or whatever. If you want to add people, you can add your clan members. You can add your friends, your clan members, some random stranger who's standing next to you, or let's just say you teamed up with a guy named Tom 30 minutes ago and he was pretty decent to run with, so hey, let's run with him again. You can totally do that. You can also, if you are doing clan encounters, you can change it to, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Exit out of that. Team. You can convert it to squad. And now you can have 4, 8, 12, 16. You can have up to 16 people in a party to fight the big creatures later on in the game. And that pretty much covers the user interface. And that should be enough to get anybody going. One last thing that I do want to point out that is absolutely wonderful. Let me get Lily Bell out really quick and mount up. This world is absolutely gorgeous. There is a lot of variety. There's a lot of little hidden things for you to explore. I see the dragonflies up again. If you click on the menu wheel, the bottom left hand button, it says hide. And let's just say you just want to chill out and veg and enjoy the game. Before I do this, I'm going to actually get into fly mode. Alright, so she's flying. Now I'm going to go to hide. And now I have a nice, clean user interface. And I can go explore the world without having a bunch of crap in my face cluttering up my screen. So you want to go check out this big old dragonfly. One of the cool things about this game is that these big baddies, they do not attack you unless you do a certain amount of damage to them. So you can safely go and check things out and not worry about getting stomped. This would make a really awesome mount, I think. I can't wait until we're able to fight that creature. I saw another creature down here that we can go kill. And as I go through the zones, it tells me what zones I'm in. The little guys with the eyes, those will attack you. But they're just little guys, so they're not going to really hurt me. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's it for the user interface. And if I want to get back to my display, I'm going to hit my wheel, which is in the bottom left hand side there, and then hit display. And now everything is back to the way it was before. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you found this video to be helpful and informative. And if you did, please subscribe and like and tell your friends and family about this wonderful game, Chimeraland. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful night.